politics and government politics of India. Social movements have long been a part of democracy in India. The picture shows a section of 25,000 landless people in the state of Madhya Pradesh listening to Rajagopal PV before their 350 kilometers, 220 miles, march. January 2007, from Gwalior to New Delhi to publicize their demand for further land reform in India. India is the world's most populous democracy. A parliamentary republic with a multi-party system, it has 8 recognized national parties, including the Indian National Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, and more than 40 regional parties. The Congress is considered center-left in Indian political culture, and the BJP right-wing. For most of the period between 1950, when India first became a republic, and the late 1980s, the Congress held a majority in the parliament. Since then, however, it has increasingly shared the political stage with the BJP as well as with powerful regional parties, which have often forced the creation of multi-party coalition governments at the center. In the Republic of India's first 3 general elections, in 1951, 1957, and 1962, the Jawaharlal Nehru-led Congress won easy victories. On Nehru's death in 1964, Lal Bahadur Shastri briefly became Prime Minister. He was succeeded after his own unexpected death in 1966 by Nehru's daughter Indira Gandhi, who went on to lead the Congress to election victories in 1967 and 1971. Following public discontent with a state of emergency she declared in 1975, the Congress was voted out of power in 1977. The then new Janata Party, which had opposed the emergency, was voted in. Its government lasted just over 2 years. Voted back into power in 1980, the Congress saw a change in leadership in 1984 when Indira Gandhi was assassinated. She was succeeded by her son Rajiv Gandhi, who won an easy victory in the general elections later that year. The Congress was voted out again in 1989 when a National Front coalition led by the newly formed Janata Dal in alliance with a left front won the elections. That government too proved relatively short-lived, lasting just under 2 years. Elections were held again in 1991. No party won an absolute majority. The Congress, as the largest single party, was able to form a minority government led by P.V. Narasimha Rao. At the Parliament of India in New Delhi, U.S. President Barack Obama is shown here addressing the members of Parliament of both houses, the lower Lok Sabha and the upper Rajya Sabha, in a joint session, 8 November 2010. A 2-year period of political turmoil followed the general election of 1996. Several short-lived alliances shared power at the center. The BJP formed a government briefly in 1996. It was followed by 2 comparatively long-lasting United Front coalitions, which depended on external support. In 1998, the BJP was able to form a successful coalition, the National Democratic Alliance, NDA. Led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the NDA became the first non-Congress coalition government to complete a 5-year term. Again in the 2004 Indian general elections, no party won an absolute majority, but the Congress emerged as the largest single party, forming another successful coalition, the United Progressive Alliance, UPA. It had the support of left-leaning parties and MPs who opposed the BJP. The UPA returned to power in the 2009 general election with increased numbers, and it no longer required external support from India's communist parties. That year, Manmohan Singh became the first Prime Minister since Jawaharlal Nehru in 1957 and 1962 to be re-elected to a consecutive 5-year term. In the 2014 general election, the BJP became the first political party since 1984 to win a majority and govern without the support of other parties. The incumbent Prime Minister is Narendra Modi, a former Chief Minister of Gujarat. On 20 July 2017, Ram Nath Kovind was elected India's 14th President and took the oath of office on 25 July 2017. Government of India and Constitution of India. Rashtrapati Bhavan, the official residence of the President of India, was designed by British architects Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker for the Viceroy of India and constructed between 1911 and 1931 during the British Raj. India is a federation with a parliamentary system, governed under the Constitution of India, the country's supreme legal document. It is a constitutional republic and representative democracy in which majority rule is tempered by minority rights, protected by law. Federalism in India defines the power distribution between the Union and the states. The Constitution of India, which came into effect on 26 January 1950, originally stated India to be a sovereign, democratic republic. This characterization was amended in 1971 to a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. India's form of government, traditionally described as quasi-federal with a strong center and weak states, has grown increasingly federal since the late 1990s as a result of political, economic, and social changes. National symbols: flag Tiranga, tricolor, emblem Sarna flying, capital anthem Jana Gana Mana song, Vande Mataram, language non-currency. Indian rupee, calendar Saka, animal Bengal tiger, river dolphin, Indian peafowl, flower lotus fruit, mango tree, banyan river, Ganges. The government of India comprises 3 branches. Executive: the President of India is the ceremonial head of state, who is elected indirectly for a 5-year term by an electoral college comprising members of national and state legislatures. The Prime Minister of India is the head of government and exercises most executive power. Appointed by the President, the Prime Minister is by convention supported by the party or political alliance having a majority of seats in the lower house of Parliament. The executive of the Indian government consists of the President, the Vice President, and the Union Council of Ministers, with a cabinet being its executive committee headed by the Prime Minister. Any minister holding a portfolio must be a member of one of the Houses of Parliament. In the Indian parliamentary system, the executive is subordinate to the legislature. The Prime Minister and their council are directly responsible to the lower house of the Parliament. Civil servants act as permanent executives and all decisions of the executive are implemented by them. Legislature: the legislature of India is the bicameral parliament. Operating under a Westminster-style parliamentary system, it comprises an upper house, called the Rajya Sabha, Council of States, and a lower house, called the Lok Sabha, House of the People. The Rajya Sabha is a permanent body of 245 members who serve staggered 6-year terms. Most are elected indirectly by the state and union territorial legislatures in numbers proportional to their state share of the national population. All but 2 of the Lok Sabha's 545 members are elected directly by popular vote. They represent single-member constituencies for 5-year terms. 2 seats of Parliament, reserved for Anglo-Indian in the Article 331, have been scrapped. Judiciary: India has a 3-tier unitary independent judiciary comprising the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice of India, 25 high courts and a large number of trial courts. The Supreme Court has original jurisdiction over cases involving fundamental rights and over disputes between states and the center, and has appellate jurisdiction over the high courts. It has the power to both strike down union or state laws which contravene the Constitution and invalidate any government action it deems unconstitutional. Administrative divisions of India. Political integration of India. India is a federal union comprising 28 states and 8 union territories. All states, as well as the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir, Yadukari and the National Capital Territory of Delhi, have elected legislatures and governments following the Westminster system of governance. The remaining 5 union territories are directly ruled by the central government through appointed administrators. In 1956, under the States Reorganization Act, states were reorganized on a linguistic basis. There are over 250,000 local government bodies at city, town, block, district and village levels. A clickable map of the 28 states and 8 union territories of India: states Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, West Bengal.